Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Adrienne. And thank you for coming today. Well, today what we want to do is introduce you to pallet tracking on the handhelds. And as you can tell, this is not a handheld. So what we wanted to do is just give you a little background so that when Cody starts showing you things on the handheld, it will make sense. The goal of the pallet tracking and the handhelds is to make use of our setup within Sage 100, whether it be for putting goods away, picking goods, and of course, we always have that real-time connection of the handhelds in the warehouse and your database in Sage 100. So anyone looking in Sage 100 or when you're processing anything, you always have real-time inventory data in the system. Well, now that includes pallets. And I wanted to warm us up a little bit here, and then we'll get right to the handhelds. So I'm on inventory maintenance and looking at the multi-bin tab, and I'm looking at my inventory here for this item in different bin locations. A little reminder here, you see some of the location types and so on that we make use of to optimize both picking and putting goods away. But this one stands out a little bit. It's got a number associated to it, PAL5, and it's got a package type. We call that ID type, or it's nothing more than calling that a package. And you can see that sticks out, and there's 10 units here in my inventory. That's 10 units made up of other units. So what I could do is drill down into the pallet, and you can see that in this PAL5, we have a few items. And so we're going to be using this information today in order to receive, transfer, build, and ship. So so let me get out of here. Let me just show you a couple more setup things here. And this will make use of that package type a little bit more here. On this lot value type item, you can see that we have more than one kind of ID type or package type. Here we have cases, pallets, more cases, and so on. And this means that we use this pallet information or pallet packaging information in more than one way. So it can be for pallets, it can be case packs, containers. You'll see in the near future we'll be introducing on the water and container receiving and that business. And so anyway, you can see that we can make use of that. So when we start up a new system, what we want to do and under setup is just create these package types. Here's my case packs, master packs, and pallets. And then all of a sudden now when we do any transaction, we can make use of that. So what I want to do is take us through some of the basics, and I'll do a receipt of goods entry here and get this out of the way. And I have one PO. Now, if you recall, in the system, we have features to automatically put in bin locations at strategic points. So at this point, you can see that this line is fully distributed. This ARS 9201, there's 1,000 received. This is a lot value item. It's not fully distributed, of course, because we have that exclamation mark. It wants a lot number and so on. So the objective right now is just to get you warmed up on pallets in transactions and how easy it is to use right in Sage 100 using what you already know if you ever did a lot serial transaction. Okay, so in this case it was automatically received, and what I want to just do is transform that, and that 1,000 pieces was received into the receiving dock. Well, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to build a couple pallets out of that. So I can click this next ID, select the pallet type, and it's asking me the quantity. And so now I have one pallet for 500 pieces into that, and another 500 into another pallet. So we give you this ability to create these IDs one at a time. In this next example, what I'd like to do is show you a more automated way. There are businesses that receive a lot of pallets, and you want to make use of a feature that will automatically increment it. If you ever seen the serial number feature in Sage 100, where you can just put the starting number and then how many to increment by, it takes off from that same theory. So in this case, I'm going to select pallet. I'm going to hit this auto ID button. How many do I want to distribute? I'm receiving 1,000. And let's say I want to receive 20 pallets. So rather than hitting that next number 20 times, I'm going to say I'm going to receive 50 per pallet, and it wants a lot number. It's a lot 1, 2, 3, or what have you. And now it's going to go through, and as you can recognize, it's filled up this screen now with all these pallets. And this is a great example of doing receipt of goods of the same item into a pallet. That could have been case packs, master packs, or anything else for that matter. So during receipt of goods, some businesses go ahead and recognize that they're receiving a pallet. Other businesses don't. Other businesses will just still receive their goods at the standard unit of measure and then build their pallet after the fact. So I will show that in a second. One last thing I wanted to show you here with the pallet tags. We do provide the ability to print pallet tags at any time, so that you can always use the features in the system to print pallet tags, but in every transaction that you're in, you know, we automate it. So I'm here in receipt of goods. I hit the pallet tag button, and now I'm able to print all the pallets that I've now received in receipt of goods. So there's the first one, and so on. I don't have any weights in there, but had I had weights, it would have filled up the weight automatically, and so on, the quantity in the pallet, and so on. Here, let me do one more example on that. That would be a little bit nicer, but that's receipt of goods. And so receiving is nothing more than continuing to do what you do today, but we take it to another level. Here's another example. Here I have many serial items. So if you ever did serial tracking in Sage 100, it's tedious. You have many entries to do. The handheld helps by scanning each one, and you have multiple serial numbers. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a quick way of doing building this into a pallet and then giving direction on where to put these goods away. So in this case, we do have a feature in the system in order to transfer the goods. And what I can do here is click on this on the left-hand side, and this is a summary of all the serialized items in this receiving dock. So I clicked on that, and I'm going to click on my group transfer button. And then it's going to pull up all my serialized items, and you can recognize the different serial numbers here. I'm going to select the pallet type, do a next number, hit transfer, and now just like that, I built a pallet full of this one item. And you can see when you're looking in the inventory screen, you could recognize that there's more than just that one serial number, because we go asterisk ... Well, that's a signal to me that I can click on this, drill down into that pallet, and there's all my serialized items now ready to be put away, print pallet tags and sell, and so on. I can print the pallet tag on this one too. And this one has a lot more to it. There's all my serial numbers that are on this pallet. It could be shrink wrapped. This can be pasted on it. It's weighing 70 pounds, and that's automatically calculated for me. The next thing Cody's going to be showing you is directed put away. This gives you the ability to have some nice setup in the system in order to give direction on where to put your goods away. In options in the system, you have some general options you can set here, and then you can override them in the product lines and items of the item. But what I want to show you here is going into the dashboard, and I think I have it written down here in the bottom. Oh, I don't. So I'll select it here. And in this feature in the dashboard, the put away, we give you the ability to calculate replenishment to your primary bin locations and put away of goods from certain staging locations, maybe like in this case, receipt of goods or goods that I just produced. I'm going to select my warehouse, and I'm going to calculate. So now here it's going to go through the goods here in my receiving dock, give me advice on where to put my goods away. As you can tell here, these are going from the receiving to these different bin locations. Here's that pallet for this item. And there's one pallet, and it's recommending to go to that location, E10L. And if I scroll to the right, I can tell what kind of logic that was used in the setup of my system in order to put that away. And it says designated ID type. And if I take you into the location here, I'll shift over to that. And that was E10L. And that's because in the put away, and this is specific for pallets and case packs and so on, I can designate the kind of package type that where it belongs in my warehouse. So maybe you have pallets that are over in the back section. And so over there you can designate, hey, I have 4 pallets that fit into this particular location in the system. And then if you want certain items, you can, of course, in both product line and the item, you can say, hey, this item or this product line belongs in this aisle or in this zone in the warehouse. Okay, but I wanted you to see that you have set up here on directing pallets to certain areas of the warehouse, and then how our dashboard makes use of that information, calculates it, and gets it to the right spot where you want it to go. Some of the other things here you see here going to the back orders, and Cody will show you how selecting an existing wave put away, you can start putting your goods away. Okay. By the way, one thing that we can do with this is print pick sheets and put away sheets, and this is the next step. And then you can even have barcodes on here and then scan these items and scan from here, or scan right on the item. And of course, as you know, scan right on the location too, along with that. So let me get out of here and then shift gears and talk a little bit about the picking side, and remind us on when Cody gets into directed picking, where that's coming from. So if I go into the options in the system, we have in here our directed picking options. Now it makes use of other settings that we have in the location, whether it be these location types. I have a primary location or not, or it's the overflow or staging location and all that business. But in here specifically for pallets, over here, pallets and case packs, I might say, down here you could say include all areas for the best case pack, pallet and case pack, and then automatically get the highest ID possible. Well, so what does that mean? So let's say I sold certain units of measure and sales order entry. You sell 100 of them, and it realizes, hey, 100 case packs is equivalent to 1 pallet. The system understands that and will automatically get you that pallet. Okay, so that's why we give you these settings, and you have control throughout the system on that. So these are the settings that we have running in the background at all times. And what I could do now is select a sales order. Actually, in this sales order, I selected to sell 1,003, and we can tell that nothing's allocated. And as a reminder, you can allocate for directed picking in a few different times. One time would be as you enter the order, another is as you print the pick sheet, and another is you scan it on the handheld, and the handheld will do that calculation for the best package. So everything I'm showing you right now, the handheld can do also. So here I'm going to print the pick sheet, and it's calculated the best goods to ship for this particular order. So it's selected 3 pallets, 400, 300, 300, and then 3 each out of this one location here. So if I look back, and let's see, and that's item number 2481, we can refresh the screen, go in front and back. We can see where it's reserved this inventory right here out of these 3 pallets and this 3. So it recognized the fact that I have all the standard unit of measure goods out here, these other miscellaneous case packs, master packs, different size pallets, and it was able to get the best combination out the door. And of course, you might say, look, I want to get the oldest lot number out the door, and it will follow suit with that algorithm too, making you and then still adhere to get the best package possible to your customers. Okay, so this information, now I printed it, it's on the hard copy. You didn't have to print it. You could have just scanned that sales order on the handheld, and it would have done this same calculation, would have walked you through each one of these locations. In this case, it's just one location, overflow to pick all these goods. And then it would tell you to pick each one of those lot numbers and those items from that location. And just as a reminder, you can later stage that order and into a staging location, and then you, if you want to, and then all you got to do is scan the sales order number, and it will automatically ship those goods. And you can see here, all I did was select the sales order number, pulled the 100 or 1003 across here, and there's my distribution for it. This is right in within Sage 100, so there's no difference just because we're doing pallets. If you've done lot serial, like I always say, you know how to already use this. So let's say this pallet didn't go out the door, and you wanted to choose another one. The lookup on this column will show all my case packs and pallets. I can restrict the lookup of what it's showing here with this filter. We always have this filter throughout all the screens. So I can say, no, just show me all the pallets. So these are the other two pallets that were allocated. I believe this is the one I just deleted from the order. Notice how when I deleted it from the order, it went ahead and unallocated that from this transaction, and I can go ahead and select this other pallet to get it out the door. Okay, so that's my little 2 cents. Directed put away built into the system in Sage 100, directed picking built in, all these settings get you into the handhelds, and the handhelds make use of this information right in your warehouse. So Cody, thank you very much, and let me pass it off to you.
Perfect.
If I can get it over to you.
All right, looks like I got it. We're good now.
You got it. Thank you very much.
All right. I definitely appreciate it, Ron, and thanks for putting this webinar together, Adrian. So the parts that I'm going to cover now are essentially going to be the handheld functionality. So what Ron was just covering was the same functionality. It's just how it's done inside of Sage and kind of what you can expect the end result to be when using the handheld. The idea of using the handhelds is to simplify this process out in the warehouse and allow your warehouse users to perform these transactions in as few steps as possible. So I'm going to start off at pretty much the most basic transaction for pallet tracking on the handheld, which is going to be our inquiry. When I go in, I tell it which warehouse I'm in, and then you'll see it gives me the option of searching by item, looking into an individual bin location, or scanning a pallet. And by scanning a pallet number, it lets me see everything that's on that pallet. So I know pallet 8 contains 350 of this item and 6 of this item. So essentially what this pallet ID is doing is, in the simplest form, grouping those together. So during transfers, during putaways, shipping, picking, physical counts, it allows me just to scan that ID and not have to fight through disassembling that pallet to scan or validate all the items. So the first transaction we're going to show is going to be our directed put away. And the directed put away is set up, like Ron was showing us, inside of Sage through the PO receiving transaction, and it creates that directed put away. So all I have to do is go in, it'll create a list. You can put description, so if you want to call this maybe Thursday's put away, or you assign it to someone's name, they'll see that, they'll choose it, and it shows me all the items I need to take. So I have 5 entries here, 3 are individual items, and then this one you'll see is actually a different color and tells me it's on pallet. So I know there's a pallet that has this item, and then these are individual items. So all I have to do is choose the item that I'm grabbing first for that put away, and it even tells me on this lookup screen where I'm headed. So I know it's coming from receiving and it's going into the cage. So we just hit OK. I scan that to validate I'm moving the right pallet. If there's more than one pallet, in this case there's multiple pallets with that item, it will stay on the list, so you have an opportunity to choose it. And then just for the sake of kind of showing you the rest of the directed put away, I'll choose an individual item. And in this case, I would scan that item and tell it how many I actually moved. So you'll see the list is dynamic. As I complete that scan, it's going to drop off. So at the point we're done, all of these transfers essentially are happening. It guided me where to go in the warehouse. I put my items away, and Sage has now been updated with the appropriate locations, so I know where it is. So all of that's done in 100% real time through the use of directed put away. So now that we've put the items away, we're going to go into physical count, and we're going to count a pallet. So you have a few options. You can count by item. You can count by bin. What's nice about the count by bin is that's a transaction that's typically not been on the handheld, and it allows us to start at a specific bin, and you'll see a button here on the bottom that tells me if I'm counting a pallet or if I just want to count individual items. So if I get to bin locations that contain pallet, I just click pallet, scan my pallet number, and you'll see it gives me an option. If I hit yes, I'm saying that that pallet is complete. I want to count all items automatically. If I hit no, it gives me the ability to scan every individual item on that pallet. So we'll go ahead and hit yes, and then we would just continue counting. Now, if I hit next bin, you'll see it just takes me through my bin locations in order. So I count everything in that bin, then go to my next one, count everything, and go to the next one to complete that physical count process. Just like the directed put away, this is 100% real time into Sage. So as soon as I'm completed with that count, I just go into physical count entry, run my variance reports, and finish the counts as normal. All right. One of the biggest transactions, and Ron spent a bit of time showing you that, was the wave batch picking. And with that wave batch picking, what it allows you to do is set the criteria on how you're picking those orders. Ron just barely scratched the surface on some of the options you have as far as even sorting it by customer priority codes, advanced lot expiration dates. There's a lot of information that can be used to come up with these picking sheets. So when I go into picking, I'll choose wave batch picking, and at this point I just scan the barcode off of the wave batch that was created out of Sage, or I can do a lookup, and you'll see it shows me whether it's a master pick list or if it's a split. So the split pick list, you'll see this one has actually been designated into pick route A, B, C, D, and so on, and it was all done off of one. So if you have your warehouse divided into zones, it'll actually divide that, take everything for those sales orders, and allow the users to pick just out of their zone. In my case here, I'm going to choose my master pick. It's asking where it's staging, which by default is our shipping. And now it's telling me go to this bin location and scan this item. So I go there, we scan that item, and now it's telling me that that item is on this pallet. So this one contains individual and pallets. So in this case, you would have your pallet, and I apologize, I don't have a barcode for this pallet, so I'll go ahead and accept that. It says that is the right pallet, and how many are being transferred, so it's just one. So now it's taking me, same bin location. You'll see that this is also on a pallet. Now, what you're going to notice here is when I say it's on a pallet, this is actually a standard pack. So it's having me scan these standard packs as those are going out. So in this case, these standard packs could be a quantity, in our case, let's say quantity of 24. So I'm using that logic that Ron showed us, and it's telling me which to grab. So I'm grabbing the specific cases, and it's automatically calculating the quantities for me. So you would continue through this process. It's going to guide you based on the criteria you have set up. And at the point you're done, it creates all of those allocations, so there's nothing you have to do in Sage. They're transferred to your shipping location, and at the point of the picking being completed, you would go into shipping. So with the shipping process, there's a few options. We're not going to dive into them too heavily because it's very dependent on how you're processing your orders out of Sage now. If there's pallets, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's going to prompt you for that pallet ID number to ship that out. So what I want to get into now is what happens if we don't want to go into Sage to create that pallet. We just want to make a pallet from the handheld. Well, the good news is you have that ability. So we'll go into new pallet. I have the same information here with my different pallet types, whether it was case, master, standard. I'm just going to choose our pallet. I'll hit next. So now we're creating pallet number 9. We'll tell it which warehouse that's going to be and which bin location I'm putting that in. So you can scan your bin locations. You can do a lookup and just choose one from the list or type it in. And now I tell it which items I'm adding. So I'm adding this item from this bin location, and we're just going to put 20 on that pallet. Scan the next item. When I do a lookup and I already have an item scanned, it'll show me only the bin locations that item is in and the quantity, so I know where I want to grab that from. We'll put 10 of this item, and then we're just going to throw one more item on here. So we'll put 12 of those. So at the point we're done, we just send that through. It automatically creates that pallet. So now, during all the transactions you've seen, that is an actual pallet. So if I go into my pallet lookup, you'll see right here we have pallet number 9 that we just created. And it shows everything that I scanned, the quantities. Of course, if we were tracking lot or serial numbers, those are assigned to that pallet as well. So this pallet, as you see, we put into a specific bin location. Now let's say we're moving stuff around, freeing up some room in our warehouse, and I need to move all of those items. Very simple transaction. I just go into pallet transfer, choose the pallet. It knows it's already in A20U, and I just tell it where I'm moving it to. And at that point, we hit complete. It's now been transferred over. So if we go back into that pallet, you'll see it's in C20M already. So all of that's happening in Sage immediately as well. All of your allocations, if that was already allocated to a sales order, the allocations will follow to the new bin location. So nothing will be lost. So those are the, kind of the main transactions. We have also, ability to receive to a pallet that's launching very shortly, as well as more integration with On the Water that Ron was mentioning. So with that, that takes us through all the pallet transactions, and I will turn it over to Adrian now, unless Ron wants to add anything to that and open up for questions.
No, that looked great. Thank you, Cody.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Cody and Ron. I do have a poll I would like to ask the audience while we're announcing the questions. So if I could just ask the audience to take a moment to answer this question. Are you interested in learning more? And let's see here. We have a question, is this being recorded? And yes, it is being recorded. We will send the recording link along with contact information after the webinar to anyone who had registered. And is there an additional cost for this feature? Cody and Ron.
Sure. I can answer on the handheld. So as you see, there's two separate pieces. We have the handheld piece, and then of course the ACS piece that's inside of Sage. So with one software, if you don't need the functionality, you don't have to purchase that. But there are great packages that do include this. So it really depends on the package you own and the package you purchase. So there could be additional cost if you don't already own one of the higher level packages.
Right. Now, and if you were to just buy it, what Cody was referring to is within the handhelds and even our system, But if you were to buy it a la carte, I guess you could say, for within the Sage 100 system, it's roughly a little over $2,000, and so hopefully you find that reasonable. But then what that does is then gives you the ability to use all these features within Sage 100, and then you don't have to do anything more typically on with our system. Normally, let's say if you have our software that you've installed it with a relatively current version sometime this year, all you need is an activation key to turn it on, and now all these features are operable on your system without getting added software. And the same applies then if you get to add the handhelds. You don't have to get more software on our end to get the handhelds going. Everything's built in to your system today. If you have the ACS multi-bin warehouse management, and the handhelds just plug and go from there.
Do you recommend that we work with our reseller through implementation of the system?
What'd you take that, Cody?
Absolutely. Yes, working through your reseller is definitely a huge benefit because they know your Sage system better than we would. So by working with them, they're going to be there for support and help you with additional pieces that come along while you're implementing solutions like this.
So we can the audience can just contact the reseller and they can start the review process through them.
Correct. They can contact the reseller. They can also contact us, and we will reach out to the reseller on their behalf if they want as well.
And I'm not seeing any more questions. Audience, if you do have a question, go ahead and click on that question mark button next to your name on the webinar pane. That'll open up a dialog box and you can key in your question and we'll announce it for the presenters. And I see 58% of you have voted. If I could just ask the audience just to take a moment and answer the poll here. Are you interested in learning more? That would be great. Just take a moment to go through that and see if there's any. Okay, we have a question from Charles. Thank you, Charles. What mobile platforms are available at this time?
As far as mobile platforms on the handhelds, we support iOS, Android, and Windows Mobile.
And I'm still just seeing 58% of you voted on this poll. It'd be awesome if we could get more votes. So we are ending this webinar a little bit short. We have 20 minutes to spare. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. With that, and thank you, Cody and Ron, for showing us your new technology available in one. You guys are always coming out with something, new and to help everyone improve their warehouse management processes. So we really appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
with that said, I'll go ahead and let Cody or Ron, would you like to offer any closing remarks?
Yeah, I'll mention that. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming today. Cody?
Yes, and just kind of second what Ron said, we appreciate you putting this on, Adrian, and of course our website is onesoftwaresolution.com. You can go there to get more information as well.
And it's my pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care.